Now let's see the typical role of underwriters in a share issue. What is meant by underwriting? It's a simple way of risk transfer. It's a form of insurance for unsuccessful issue of the shares. Let's look at this process. Let's say there is a company which wants to go public. This is the intention of the company. Now, one option is it directly sell the shares to the public, but there is a big risk associated with it. So the most common thing that happens is it approaches an investment bank, which is the typical issuing house. Now, this issuing house or the investment bank, it becomes the lead underwriter for this issue. What is the role of this lead underwriter here? It will buy all the shares of A, and it takes the whole and sole responsibility. It's not just acting in an advisory role, but it is taking the whole and sole responsibility in terms of selling the shares to the public. Taking the shares to the public, it takes the responsibility, and in case any of the shares are not sold to the public, which is called as undersubscribed, the issue being undersubscribed, in any case all the shares are not sold to the public, then the investment bank takes the responsibility of buying them, right? So that is one major role that comes in a typical process. And now the investment bank, which is the lead underwriter alone, it does not want to take the full risk. So it tries to chip in a few sub underwriters. Large financial institutions, they become the sub underwriters for this issue. There are various financial institutions that are becoming sub underwriters, because this one single investment bank is not willing to take this entire risk of undersubscription. So it is making a pool with various financial institutions and giving them a portion of these shares, giving them the responsibility to sell. But in case any of them are not getting sold, finally, if any of these parties are defaulting, the final responsibility lies with the lead underwriter itself. But for doing this entire part, the lead underwriter is charging a fee, right? And in some cases, the fee is purely, it's an explicit fee, and in some cases, it is purely the price at which this company is buying. I mean, the issuing house is buying the shares from the company, and the price at which it is selling them to the public. So it might have bought the shares from A at Y dollars, but it is selling them to public at X dollars. So typical X minus Y dollars is going to be the fee which this lead underwriter is getting, and obviously it would be shared between the various sub underwriters, right? So this is the situation where the difference is coming out. This comes generally in an offer for sale kind of a process. And in this case, if the subscription is fully done, if all the shares are issued, whatever this fee minus the expenses what this lead underwriter has generally incurred, that is going to be the profit of this lead underwriter. But when the issue becomes undersubscribed or not fully sold to the public, they are having some unsold shares with them. Until they get all those shares disposed of, they cannot realize a kind of a profit in this transaction, and that is what is the additional risk that they are taking up. But finally, when I am looking at underwriting, This is a mechanism where the risk of the company shares is being assessed, priced, and finally taken the ownership in terms of taking them to the public. And if at all they are not taken to the public, the underwriter himself retaining the same, and the underwriter himself and trying to sell them off at a later date, right? So many of the share issues that are coming up, they are following this route of underwriting itself.